Have you ever felt that no matter how hard you try, your mind remains trapped in an invisible fog? As if a force you cannot name drags you toward exhaustion, confusion, anxiety. You live, but you are not fully alive. You breathe, but you don't fill. You think, but you don't feel clarity. And no one has explained why. No one has told you that the key is right beneath your nose. Today, you are going to discover a secret that has been hidden for centuries. Something so obvious, so simple, that it was dismissed for being too powerful. Today, you will remember that breathing is not an automatic reflex. It is spiritual technology, a doorway to worlds you cannot see but can feel, a science of the soul that has been safeguarded in ancient temples, whispered in sacred caves, passed from master to disciple in utter silence. Breathe, but not as you usually do. Do it now, with presence, with intention. Close your eyes if you can. Inhale deeply, as if every particle of air were a message of life entering you. Exhale slowly, as if you were releasing centuries of accumulated tension. What you have just done can change your life. The ancient cultures knew this. The Egyptians called the breath Ka, the vital energy that connected humans to the invisible world. In Vedic India, the yogis taught the art of pranayama, the control of prana, the sacred breath that nourishes consciousness. In Taoism, deep breathing was the secret to building the body of immortality. And in the most hidden teachings of mystical Christianity, they spoke of divine inspiration as a way to unite the soul with the Spirit of God. All these cultures, separated by thousands of years and miles, agreed on one thing. Breath is a bridge, a ritual, a spell. And you, without knowing it, have carried that key within you since the day you were born. But they took it away from us. They taught us to breathe superficially, to run, to live in survival mode, and so we disconnected from the power that belongs to us. Today, science, slowly, begins to admit what the ancient sages knew without scanners or technology. The way you breathe affects your heart, your brain, your immune system. But there is something they still have not fully grasped. Breathing also awakens your soul. And here the true journey begins. There are techniques that have been protected for millennia. One of them is the 4-7-8 breathing. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 7, exhale for 8. Repeat. It may sound simple, but it is not. This sequence activates your vagus nerve, a structure that connects your brain with your heart, your lungs, and your internal organs. By stimulating it, your body enters regeneration mode. Your heart rate slows, stress diminishes, clarity activates, your mind clears. And that is not all. It also balances the CO2 in your blood, the forgotten gas, feared through ignorance, yet essential for oxygen to reach your cells properly. By holding your breath a few seconds, you extend life. You nourish your organs, you calm your emotions, and more than that, you awaken your energy field. Because air does not only nourish the body, it nourishes the aura. It nourishes your purpose. The sages knew to breathe is to invoke, to tell the universe, I am here, I am alive, I am present, and from here, I create my reality. That is why I bring you 7 keys, 7 rituals, not religious, not dogmatic, sacred. First key, the morning ritual. Before checking your phone, before speaking, sit on the edge of your bed, place your hands on your abdomen, breathe 10 times, slow and deep, feeling how energy enters through your nose and awakens your centers. Visualize light. Breathe light. This primes your day with elevated frequency. Second key, transition breathing, before switching tasks. Before replying to that message, before entering a conversation, pause. Inhale 4 seconds. Hold 7. Exhale 8. Do this 5 times. Clear away residues of the previous moment. Return to center. Third key, walking breath. As you walk down the street, synchronize your steps with your breath. 4 steps in, 4 steps out. Your mind aligns, your legs strengthen, your heart expands. Every stroll becomes active meditation. Fourth key, the inner smile. Each time you inhale, form a small smile. No one needs to see it, even if you are alone. That smile shifts your frequency. It activates circuits of gratitude and subtle joy. Breathing stops being automatic. It becomes sacred. Fifth key, nighttime cleansing. Before sleep, lie down, breathe deeply. Visualize that on each exhale, you release tensions, thoughts, emotions that are not yours. You cleanse your field. You heal your body. You prepare the ground for your soul to dream in peace. Sixth key, conscious reminders. Place a symbolic object in key locations. A piece of paper, a stone, an amulet. Each time you see it, take 3 conscious breaths. Only 3, but full breaths. It is an anchor to bring you back to yourself. Seventh key, the breath journal. At day's end, write down, how many times did I breathe consciously today? How did I feel afterward? What energy did I release? Observing is transforming, and what is measured improves. These keys are not theory. They are everyday alchemy. They are how to reclaim your spiritual autonomy, to remember that your body is a temple, and that your breath is its prayer. But there is more, much more. In certain traditions, breathing is combined with energetic visualizations, as with the central channel. Visualize a column of light rising from the base of your spine to your crown. On the inhale, energy rises. On the exhale, it expands outward. That light cleanses, it harmonizes, it awakens dormant memories. This is not metaphorical, it is vibration. Because breath is rhythm, and rhythm is the key to the spell. The ancient Pythagoreans taught this in silence. Each pause between breaths is a doorway. Each retention, a temple. Each exhale, an offering. And here comes the final revelation. Breathing is not just healing, it is remembering. Remembering who you were before fear, before stress, before disconnection. Each conscious breath is an act of rebellion against a world that wants you asleep. It is a declaration of presence, a way to say, I am alive, I am awake, I am in my center. And if you ever feel chaos dragging you away, return to the breath. Because as long as you breathe, you are still here. And while you are here, you can choose, you can create, you can transform. Because the true master has always been breathing with you. Breathe and remember. Subscribe if you have felt something within you awaken. Leave in the comments a phrase you want to plant in your life. An affirmation, a decree, a whisper of the soul. And yet, there are still doors we have not opened. Because if conscious breathing is the bridge, what about the space it leads us to? I do not speak only of health or calm. I speak of expanded states of consciousness, what the ancients called the breath of spirit, capable of transcending the limits of ordinary mind and activating forgotten memories of the soul. In many initiatory cultures, mastery of breath was only the threshold to something deeper, the ability to access subtle dimensions where time and space do not function as they do here. Breathing with intention could lead the practitioner to experience what yogis call samadhi, Sufis fana, and Christian mystics divine ecstasy. Have you ever noticed you breathe differently when you feel deeply inspired? That is no coincidence. Language reminds us. Inspire comes from the Latin inspirare, meaning to infuse soul or spirit. To breathe with soul is to remember that in every inhale, a vision, an intuition, a signal from the soul may arise that no other means could deliver. And here we enter another level rarely explored. Breathing as a tool for communicating with the quantum field. Yes, as if each conscious breath were a vibrational password that lets you connect with a greater intelligence. An intelligence that does not respond to words, but to the internal frequency from which you speak. What if I told you that certain breath patterns could induce visionary states without sacred plants or external substances? Holotropic breathwork, for example, developed by Stanislav Grof, has enabled thousands to access prenatal memories, buried traumas, or mystical experiences of unity with the cosmos. Coincidence? Number, because the soul was never disconnected. It was only waiting for you to breathe truly. And there is still more. Breathing as ritual. Not just a daily practice, but a ceremonial act. When was the last time you breathed as if your life were a miracle? As if every breath were an offering? Picture this. A single lit candle, absolute silence, and you, seated facing yourself, inhaling and exhaling with devotion as one who converses with the invisible. In certain Amazonian tribes before the hunt, elders taught youth to breathe deeply to become one with the jungle. It was not just focus, it was fusion with the environment. Because one who breathes with presence does not separate from life. One embodies it. Even your heartbeat, which you think runs independently, begins to synchronize with the rhythm of conscious breathing. A phenomenon called heart coherence occurs, and when it does, body, mind, and the heart's electromagnetic field vibrate in unison. In that state, thought loses its noise, emotion settles, and intention becomes an arrow. This is not poetry. It is forgotten science. It is spirituality made flesh. Now I want you to ask yourself, what kind of world would you build if you breathed every day as a sacred act? What sort of words would flow from your mouth if every exhale were an extension of your soul? And what if your cells began to receive that vibration as the new language of your existence? There are witnesses who, after months of daily practice, began to experience lucid dreams, heightened energetic sensitivity, inexplicable synchronicities, and a profound sense of inner guidance. Not because something external touched them, but because they aligned with their original pulse. Breath as key, consciousness as gateway, soul as temple. And there is one last layer, one that many fear but is inevitable for true awakening. Breathed silence. Not silence as absence of sound, but as total presence. That space where you need say nothing, need do nothing. Just be and breathe. It is there the mind surrenders. The ego releases control, and true wisdom begins to speak to you without words. Do you feel it? You do not need to understand it with your mind. Your body already remembers. Your soul already knows. So do not underestimate the simplest practice. Inhale, hold, exhale, pause, and repeat. Not as routine, but as revolution. Because whoever masters their breath, masters their energy. And whoever masters their energy, transforms their world. Breathe, not out of habit, but as one who opens a portal. One that has always existed within. Now that you have arrived here, pause. Do not rush to the next video. Do not open another tab. Stay in this moment, because what you are about to hear is not an ending. It is a threshold. Imagine the universe has been watching you in silence, not from the outside, but from the inside. That it has been waiting for the moment you, in full presence, breathe and say, I am here. That moment is now. Because what comes is not information. It is initiation. There is an ancient secret that does not appear in books, in temples, or in sacred writings. It is transmitted from soul to soul, from silence to silence. And that secret is this: the soul does not awaken with cries. It awakens with a whisper uttered between breaths, an echo that only reveals itself to those who dare to stay until the end. Because when others flee the void, you remain. When others fill silence with noise, you inhabit it. When others speak without awareness, you breathe with devotion. And then it happens. Your breath becomes prayer, your body an altar, your life a spell. And what do you do with that? What do you do with such power? You bring it into the world, but not to impose, rather to remind others what they too are: a source of breathing light, a spirit that has forgotten it knows how to fly. And now, before closing this portal, I have one last request. Go to the comments and write a single phrase: I am ready to remember. Because here we do not end. Here we begin. In the next video, we will go even deeper. But only if you are prepared. Only if you are willing to pass through the veil. And now, I will not say goodbye. That word is too small for this moment. I will say something stranger, more true. Be silent, listen to your breathing, feel how deep down it is no longer just yours. It is the echo of a memory that has just awakened. And in that echo, we will meet again. On the other side of breath, where silence speaks and the soul answers.